So I'd like to welcome everybody here today. My name is Adeolu Akinyemi. I am many things to many people. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pastor, I'm a nation builder. I am excited and passionate about being able to add value and make a difference at all the times that I can. And today we have a few interesting people with us here today. Our keynote person today, who has some expertise, some good expertise in herbal science and good expertise in innovation, who has a pharmacy background. His name is Dr. Akinseyinde, and I'm sure you can see him. He's the one wearing the glasses. Dr. Akinseyinde came first place in the 2016 MIT Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp in Boston, USA. He has more than 20 years experience in business leadership and innovation and has been involved in launching new products and concepts successfully in Nigeria over a dozen times. Dotun, a trained pharmacist from Obafemi University, Great Ife, has worked for the biggest multinationals in the world in both the pharma and the FCMG sectors. He has also had a career stint in the telecoms, where he pioneered the BlackBerry movement in Nigeria in the late 2000s, early 2000s. He is very passionate about innovation, especially in the herbal and alternative medicine space, and has a lot of formulations to show for this. Dotun is extremely practical and exciting to listen to. He is married with children. I'd like you to help me welcome Dotun Akinseyinde into the building today. You can please just say you are welcome or celebrate him, put your hands together in the window, and you can just say a word before we introduce the others.
Yeah, thank you, Deolu. I appreciate the opportunity to have me this evening. Thank you so much, Deolu, and it's a pleasure having you all. Everybody waving, saying hi. You're welcome, and we look forward to having an exciting session this evening. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. And then, of course, the second person I'd like to introduce today, also in the house, is Dr. Fumi Aino. Now, our profile is a very healthy read, so I won't do that today. A day where she will be the central person that we'll be talking with and talking to is going to come. But Dr. Fumi Aino is a medical doctor by training. I'll just try and capture a few of the key highlights of things you need to know about Dr. Fumi Aino. Dr. Fumi Aino is also somewhere along the line in our journey became interested in the herbal space. She'll give us details of how that is. She's been in this career for well over about 30 years, about 25 years, over 35 years. Okay, well over 35 years. And she's going to be sharing with us exciting things today. We're going to be leaning significantly on our experience. So I'd like you to please help me welcome today on the podium Dr. Fumi. And Dr. Fumi, I know, apart from our medical history, she's also very close to the house. Many people who are in the green community know her. She's a leader in that community. So please, I'm going to give you voice. Please just say hello to us in the house today.
Hello, good evening, everybody. It's great to be here. I know we're going to have a wonderful time. Thank you for inviting me to be on this panel. And we're going to have a great time. Thank you, CM.
Welcome, Matt. My pleasure. And of course, we have in the house today as well. I will not do too much introduction today as well. You get to meet her on the day she's taking the center space as well as the keynote person that we'll be listening to. Please help me join me in welcoming. Her name is Temitope Akinyemi. She's a pharmacist by training. She has been one for the last 19 years. She's did a little stint in pharmacy for a while, and then she ventured into business, and then she's back in an interesting way in the herbal space. I'd like you to help me also join me in welcoming Temitope Akinyemi. We call her MI, and I'm going to give her voice.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening. Like I usually say, it's an exciting time to be alive, and it's my privilege and honor to be with you this evening. I know it's going to be a rich experience. Going to be a heartwarming and time well spent. This evening. I look forward to learning. I look forward to sharing, and I look forward to an amazing time and exciting days ahead. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. So today it's going to be very interesting. So it's going to be very interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to basically be asking a few questions. And I'm not the only person that will be asking questions. So we're all going to be asking questions. And we have our keynote person here who has some very key things to share with us about some discoveries within the herbal space, the beauty of herbs. Is it fact? Is it myth? Do these things work? How do they work? So I will start by creating the initial leading question. I'll ask everybody questions roundabouts, and then basically give us an opportunity to make an introduction, and then we'll kick off with Mr. Dotun Akeshende, who will tell us something very interesting that he will want to share with us. And then from there, we'll begin to look at, what to apply, what to take, what to note, and, what to do, particularly in these times where everywhere in the world, everybody is beginning to mute. There's a herbal solution somewhere. Are we waiting for vaccines? Are we waiting for herbs? I think it's a very good season for us to open our eyes to what is available here. And what we're putting together here will create enlightenment for all who are listening, and probably be able to guide people in what can they do, how can they do it, and where can they find some sort of support structure at this time. So very quickly, I know you're all orthodox practitioners. So pharmacy, you went to school to study pharmacy. I'm sure it wasn't about herbals. You went to school to study medicine. I'm sure it wasn't about. At what point in your journeys did you pick this fancy for herbals? Or at what point in your journey did herbals begin to make sense? I'm going to start that conversation with Dr. Fumi Aino, who is currently already on audio. So Dr. Fumi Aino, at what point in your journey did herbs begin to make sense? When did you begin to ask, or get curious about herbs?
Okay, thank you very much. In about 1997, during one of my postgraduate trainings in Liverpool, I first came in contact with the free radical theory. I mean, I honestly can't remember whether we studied that when I was in medical school several years before that, but that was the time it was flagged up for me. And so I learned about the free radical theory, learned about antioxidants. And so I believe that sort of prepared me to be able to accept what normally, with my training, with with just the way we medical doctors and medical personnel think, normally I would probably not want to look at it. Then a few years after that, I came in contact with a natural product, and it was about antioxidants and the free radical theory, and I saw what that product did. And then more recently, I mean, that was a foreign product, but I saw that, wow, okay, this free radical theory is really true. And this product that claimed to be an antioxidant, I saw what it did for people, and that was abroad. And so more recently, in the last 4 years, was my first introduction, so to speak, with a herbal product that was actually made in Nigeria. And the person who was talking about it, she would talk about it, and I'll just say, I was very amused about that. That was it. I was amused. But then I heard somebody else say something, and then I thought, okay, let me take a look at it. And I took a look at it. I read up, of course, and then I tried it, and I was amazed. And I think it's from there that I would say my interest in natural products, I choose to call them, my interest was awoken. And I thought about it. I said, look, hundreds of thousands of years ago, there was something people were using. And the people of old, people of the Bible, lived till hundreds of years, not even now when the life expectancy is so low, so, and that's where my interest picked up, and I started reading. I started researching individual ingredients, and I was seeing that, okay, these have been used for so many years. And that gave me that interested me. But apart from that, the fact that people would use these products, and you can say anything you want about, because we're in the age of evidence-based medicine. And so we can say anything we want about, okay, what's the evidence that this does this? But you can't argue with somebody who takes something and feels better and the situation is resolved. And these are not people that are in the air somewhere. They're people close to me, very, very close to me. And that further awakened my interest, and I'm happy to say that, I'm proud to talk about herbals. I'm proud to use herbals. And I believe that I believe I'm in a unique position to be able to do that, not without being biased, because I am a medical doctor, and that will always be there. And so that will come into play even when I'm considering, these herbal products. So I hope that answers that question.
Very, 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 very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Fumi. I know that was very apt. So very interesting. I realized, so it kicked off from somewhere in Liverpool, sometime during your career development. Excellent. So the next person, we're going to go around this way. So the next person who will take the floor on this is M.I. Temitope Akinyemi. Let us hear you.
Okay.
Mine happened, well, it was a journey of some sort. When I was, I think about 11, 12, thereabouts, I used to have a lot of sore throat several times, what we call tonsillitis. I used to have it a lot. I mean, it was really bad. On an average month, sometimes I would have it once or twice. And by the way, I am not only a pharmacist, my dad is a medical doctor. He's been practicing since 1970, so like 40-something years, okay? So that's where I grew up. I mean, I grew up in a family where my dad is a medical doctor. I have an older sister who is a medical doctor. Her husband is a medical doctor. I ran away from being a medical doctor because I didn't want to just join I wanted to do something different. But of course, my education, my course combination just made me say, okay, I was doing well in chemistry, so the next logical thing for me to do was pharmacy. So, I mean, that's where I grew up. I grew up in that kind of family setting. So I while growing up, I used to have a lot of tonsillitis a lot of times, and antibiotics became my second food. I mean, I would take antibiotics every time. Once it came up, my dad would just write a prescription, and then I would go swallow it. And of course, compliance, I would take it 4 times a day. I needed to, several times I couldn't swallow. It was terrible. It was really bad. I had years like that of being perpetually on antibiotics. And that was my life. I mean, I didn't really know any other life as such. I was like perpetually on antibiotics. So somewhere along the line, when I got to UI, one day I got a call from my dad, and he tells me that I need to be careful about how I consume antibiotics. Okay, I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'm wondering, okay, where is it going? And then he tells me, because when you use it for over a long period of time, it can mess up with your heart, it can damage your heart. I'm like, okay. I never really take these things except you tell me to take them. You want pumping this into my system technically like that for give or take maybe about 10, 15 years. So that, for me, that message, the message he gave me didn't leave me. Yeah, and who wants to have heart problem? No, I'm still young, So when he told me that, I became scared. I withdrew, actually. Anytime I heard about antibiotics or had antibiotics, I just ran away. I didn't want to take antibiotics because I felt I had already taken enough to even if it was going to do me anything. I already took a lot of it. So that was my first scare, from what we know, as orthodox today. So anytime I had the issue with sore throat and tonsillitis, at a point I was scheduled for surgery, I was pushed again. So it was really bad. Okay, so I will take warm water, I will take lime, I was looking for home remedies. I mean, I ran away from that. So, and any other health issues, if it wasn't really bad, I started running away from taking regular meds. So, and then I came across, I think like Dr. Fumi said, I came across herbal medicine. I think I had become open enough to consider something else. So when it came, and like she said, I began to hear about people who had used some of these products and they were getting relief, they were getting better. Some of them were more serious than others. Some of them were technically unbelievable. Some of them had issues that lingered for a long period of time. Some of them had side effects of prolonged use of some medications, and, you know, they had relief from it. It was really, you know, a lot. And I really began to wonder at that. And then along the line as well, I also met medical doctors who also had recommended to some of their patients who they had told to go home, you know, after, you know, just be managing it. And herbals became, you know, a go-to alternative, and it began to work for them. So when I heard about the medical doctor, I went to visit my dad around that time, and we got talking. I was very careful because, of course, he's a medical doctor. So we got talking, and then I chipped it in a bit about someone who had gangrene, or diabetes, or had a diabetic sore that was really, really bad, you know, and how the person got relief from using herbs and, you know, and all of that. I showed him pictures, videos, and it was like, wow, you know. So we got talking. Of course, I was easing it in a bit and all. So, and as we got talking, I discovered that he was diabetic. I was like, wow, like really, my dad, we're really close. I didn't know I'd been managing diabetes forever. He's a medical doctor anyway, so he wouldn't tell me what he was managing. He was just popping in the pills and all. So he told me, you know, I've been managing diabetes. I said, whoa, wow, like really? And then he mentioned something about prostate and all of that. So I said, I had this and this, so why don't you try this, you know? And then I think the rest is history. And now he also recommends herbals to some of his patients who he has been managing for some time and all of that. So, I mean, that's my journey into something happened to me that kicked me a bit off. And then I became open enough to experience it. And when I did, and of course, when I saw my dad embrace it, it went ahead to also strengthen my, you know, this one who has practiced medicine for longer than I've been born. So I think that's into her.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, MI. Very good. So your childhood popped drugs, popped a lot of pills, and then realized that you need to take a leave from that. Dr. Akisende, I'm going to head on to you now. When did you begin to get curious about herbs? And, you know, what has that journey been like?
Okay, thank you so much, CM, and it's a pleasure being on the panel once again. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, yes. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So thank you so much, CM. It's a pleasure being on the panel once again. My journey into herbals is very interesting. From what CM read, I'm more of an innovation expert. And well, I may have been, my being an innovation expert is a little bit beyond training. It seems to be a lot innate. I have this passion to create new things, develop new things. And it started from getting into pharmacy school. So as a pharmacy student, I had this desire to develop new drugs, you know. It was a lot frustrating, you know, studying pharmacy in Nigeria. I remember trying to talk to my lecturers and asking him, sir, I have this desire to develop new drugs. What do you think about it? And he told me he's been working for 25 years and he has not done anything. So why do me, a part 2 student, what do I think I'm going to ever do? I almost lost hope. I told myself, oh my God, I don't know. How will I make impact? What will I do? But anyhow, I struggled and tried to pass through the pharmacy school. I graduated. There's a course in pharmacy school called pharmacognosy. It's a study of naturally occurring substances that have medicinal action. Amidst our courses, okay, chemistry was a lot well understood. There's small theories about chemistry. cognosis seems to be an area where there are so many things yet unraveled. And I took quite some interest in it. Not so much as to decide to run a master's in it. Immediately after finishing school, I joined the trail of trying to practice in the hospital. Then at a point, I went into the industries. At a point, all I was doing, I was a lot dissatisfied with it. I felt that inner desire to bring up new things popped up back inside me, and I felt I needed to make it work. Around that time, I met a professor who was at that time the professor for the Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Ibadan, Professor Chinedu Babalola, who had this discussion with me as well and steered me to, I discussed with her. I told her I have this innate desire to make things work. And she told me, you can think, you can make it work. You can get something out of your head. And I went back to my faculty. I read and read and read, and I tried to bring up something. And the first thing I brought up was herbal, because that was the easiest thing to walk around at that time. That's about 10 years ago. And offered to give a lot of support to, get support for studies into those plants. And that was how it started. But I tell you, the strength of going to herbals became very much renewed when I went to the US in 2016. Went to the US in 2016 to MIT. MIT is the best school of tech in the world. It was a big thing for me. And I was hoping that when I'm through with MIT, I'm going to land myself some bigger multinational offers across the world. And I had to speak with one of my lecturers in MIT. And in the course of the discussion, I told him about some of these opportunities in apps. And then he asked me for what my ambitions were. And I told him, I'm thinking of, after these, seek some bigger opportunities. And he made me understand that there are no bigger opportunities than to make impact in the world through these ideas I'm sharing with him. I went back to my house and I took a lot of time to think. I was in the US where there was nothing that was organic. Almost everything was genetically engineered, comes with a high level of technology. And anything that has an organic label comes at a highly premium price. Now I come from Nigeria, where the ewedu that my mommy cooks is more likely organic than any other thing. In fact, if there is any biogenetics in it, it will likely become more expensive. And when I got back to class the next day, I discussed it with one of my classmates, and he told me, if you bring something organic, you have made it. And I thought again that, look, beyond being organic, some of these things have a lot of capacities to enhance health, which I've studied back in pharmacognosy, and I was already doing a lot of being part of a big research with a big center in UI on this on a part-time basis. And this teared me up. I came back to Nigeria with a renewed commitment to dig deeper into Nigerian herbals, go beyond where the solutions are. And I also found out that even the orthodox drug, yes, I studied the orthodox drug extent. Every day we're looking at ways to combat and mitigate against the challenges of the orthodox drug. I looked at the technology in the US. If we want to catch up with the Westerners in technology, we're going to spend 100 years trying to do it with the system and the situations we are in. But where we are today is where the Westerner wants to come back to, and that is nature, and that is things being organic. And I know that what we have and we don't value is a big, big treasure in the hand of the Westerner. I came back with a renewed determination, and God blessed me with a couple of researchers who are extremely dedicated. And I can tell you today, we are in the patenting more than 42 herbal products coming from Nigerian soil and solving global problems. That's my short journey into herbals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dotun, for those interesting insights about your interest in the herbal space and how it has led to so many products in your kitty. for the space. Now, very quickly today, I'd like to take on the conversation very quickly, and I'm going to be starting with you, Dotun, now, because you are the lead voice for our conversation today. You mentioned some things in that your brief introduction. You mentioned two things. You said that I took note of. One of them was that you are regularly combating the challenges that exist with orthodox medicine, meaning that orthodox medicine has some challenges. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. That's one. Then two, I'd like to understand, do herbs work? I know Dr. Fumi will tell me clear experiences of people that she has encountered who their testimonies are incontrovertible. You cannot challenge what has happened to me. But from a scientific basis, having studied these things and tried to do things around them, what are the challenges you are managing with the regular orthodox? And do herbs work? Why do they work? Why are we supposed to expect that they will work?
Okay, great. So this is a very important and interesting one. And before this class, I was discussing a concept that is called xenohomesis. That's a big job-breaking word, but don't worry. I know that this is not a scientific conference. I'm not here to give you job-breaking scientific exposition.
Call it
But think about it.
Xenophobia. What do you call it?
Xenohomesis. Xenohomesis.
Spelling.
XENOHORMESS, and you can Google it. Okay, so and this is interesting, is exciting. So let's start from orthodox medicine.
Okay.
So orthodox medicine, yeah, that's the word. Orthodox medicine has saved lives. A lot of lives have been saved by orthodox medicine. Up till now, we use orthodox drugs on a day-to-day basis. Orthodox drugs alter normal body function. The body functions this way. So because the body is functioning abnormally, you administer a medication to change that function from being abnormal back to being normal. And it is such that when you give it even to a normal function, it now becomes toxic. It becomes poisonous because it's meant to alter the existing function from abnormal to normal. So when you put it in the normal environment, it now makes it bad. It makes it not proper for the normal environment. And because of the specificity of orthodox medicine, there are side effects that comes with it. There are things that merely they give you the package. I was exploring a particular drug recently that's being used for baldness and baldness. You know, it's good to see that MI has a full hair, so it doesn't need anything for baldness. You know, when people begin to get to the 40s, they begin to, go bald. And when I examined it, I noticed that when they compared its action compared to what they call placebo. Placebo is something that we know it's not working. It is marginal, statistically significant, but placebo was about 20-something%, while this particular product, I won't mention the name, was about 30-something%. And yet, this product comes with challenges of creating liver damage, challenges of creating kidney trouble, challenges of raising your blood pressure, challenges of complicating diabetes, challenges of giving you a hearing problem.
Just for baldness.
You need to have all those problems just to cure baldness. You know, I mean, I used to be, I started my career off as a community pharmacist. And I remember a very popular community pharmacist, I won't mention the name as well. I remember my boss giving me a drug for obesity and telling me this particular medication is for obesity. It cannot be used in hypertension. It cannot be used in diabetes. If the blood sugar is a little bit raised, it cannot be used. And I begin to wonder, oh my goodness, with obesity comes all these other problems. So who will use it? So who will I sell it to? You know? So these issues, as we resolve issues in orthodox medicine, we create new ones. But let me tell you, yes, lives are being saved daily by orthodox medicine. However, the peculiarity of herbs is the closeness to nature. The fact that even without saying we are taking any herbal medicine, we're every day eating these plants. And the more we eat it, the more we get some kind of solution to some of our challenges. If you have constipation today, they will tell you to go and cook vegetable stew. And immediately you eat vegetable stew, you are likely going to have better bowel movement. What did you do? You've just taken herbal remedy for constipation, which is increase your fiber intake and enhance your GI motility. And everybody here, there's something that has underscored what everybody has said, and that's your experience. And let me tell you the truth. Science is science, but it is very difficult to argue with a man that has had a positive experience. And that's why till today, I'm telling you, Dr. Fumi is an orthodox practitioner. Up till now, herbal medicine is not yet incorporated into orthodox medical training in Nigeria. Thank God, in the residency now of family physicians, it is being brought in. And I'm excited about that. I relate a couple of medical family physicians, consultant general practitioners, and they are now trying to open up to alternative medical practice. And because it is a black spot, it is a dark spot to the doctor tends to tell you, I don't know anything about it. Stay away from it. But till today, statistics tells us that Nigerians, 80% of Nigerians still use herbal medicine. Why? Because it works. Everybody that is having headache and takes a cup of decoction and the headache goes, there's no science you are going to tell him. He's just going to tell you, oh boy, thank you for your science, but this headache was cured by this decoction. And this is the singular thing that sustained herbal medicine up till now.
Yep.
I tell you, with the level of campaign against herbal medicine in the past 2 decades, by the increasing knowledge of orthodox practitioners and the lack of insight into herbal medicine, by now herbal medicine should have been done away with. But as we are getting more and more, discouraging people more and more, they are telling you, oh mine, I am getting results from this thing. I got results, so I will do it again. Again and again. The basic fact is herbal medicine has its results. The basic truth also is orthodox medicine has its place. And where the gap of orthodox medicine is that while targeting some of your diseases, it sometimes creates 1 or 2 other challenges. While in terms of herbal medicine, sometimes there are some conditions that can be out of hands and may not be able to be handled by it. They all have their challenges, they all have their gaps with these 2 things.
Okay. I think I'm losing your voice. I don't know if you're still saying something, but I cannot really hear you. Okay, I think you're back now. Now, you said something, and I'm going to come back to you, Dosun, on xenohomesis. Abi? I'm going to come back to you on xenohomesis. But before I come back to you on xenohomesis, there's a question I'd like to take on to the others as well. And I'll start with Dr. Fumi. So the question is very simple. Do herbs work? Have you experienced herbal concoctions or decoctions working? Then 2, I'm going to join a question that somebody's asking to this question. Why is it difficult to convince pharmacists who went to school to study pharmacy and doctors who went to school to study medicine about herbs? Somebody just put in the question and said, my wife studied pharmacy. She doesn't allow me to take herbs. Thank God for COVID-19. She's now allowing me to take ginger and take different things because of COVID-19. But before now, she doesn't allow me to take herbs. But now she's allowing me. Why is it so difficult to convince pharmacists and doctors that this is something that is good to do? And then as a corollary to that question, have you experienced herbs working before? Can you share with us some examples?
Have I experienced herbs working before? Yes. even in this COVID-19 space, I've experienced herbs work. You know, I permits me to to talk about our product, Rida Herbal Bitters. Can I?
Yes, you can. Sure.
Yes. So one of the ailments that the ingredients in Rida Herbal Bitter is supposed to help with is high blood pressure. And over the past year or so, I've heard people say it. I believe them, but personally, I couldn't say I experienced it. But a couple of months ago, I experienced it personally. You know, there was a period where I'm hypertensive, but not severe. I'm on medication, but I do take this product along with my medication. But there was a period where for a few days, I was very haphazard in my regular antihypertensives, and my blood pressure went a bit high. And for a period of a couple of days, I just took only this herb, and I could see that, yes, my blood pressure stabilized. Now, I didn't stop taking my regular medication, but that's stable. So that proved to me, and even in the past few days, same thing happened. But I also have somebody very close to me who lives in the UK. And for some years, he's been pre-hypertensive. And he's been trying to do lifestyle modification and taking our product. And it has kept his blood pressure at bay such that he has not been placed on antihypertensives. But sometime last year, you know, I would always say, take a break. And he took a break, and his blood pressure shot up. And he went to see his doctor. And I was even saying, look, stop, don't deny it. You're hypertensive, take medication. But he didn't want to. And he went back on this product, on Rida, and the normal lifestyle modifications exercise. And a few days ago, he showed me what his blood pressure was about 2 months ago when it shot up and what it is this week. And I could see clearly, and he's not on any hypertensive. I mean, I can go on and on and on. There's this case of my nephew's fungal infection. There's a fungal infection called tinea capitis. And we know as medical personnel that you have to take oral preparations. Creams, topicals alone don't usually take care of tinea capitis. But my nephew, my sister used our product on it topically. This is abroad as well. And eventually the condition disappeared without the little boy taking anything oral. So I can go on and on. So it works. I mean, they work. Now, why? The other question is, why is it difficult to convince medical doctors and pharmacists? I think there are different reasons. I think that, first of all, you can't give what you don't know. Our training has not primed us to accept such. That's first of all. So, and if you don't know something, you're not aware, you've not looked into it, chances are you hear, oh, this person took this and they had this effect, the chances are you want to stay away. That's one. Two is that I actually don't believe that it's difficult to convince them to take. It might be difficult to convince them to prescribe it because probably they're not, what word do I use? They're not covered.
Yeah.
So you're sitting at your desk and prescribing something that you're not covered, and anything, even if there was something that was going to happen to the patient and something happens to the patient, and doctor, I know now with all those hair, you know, so I know of medical doctors who are taking our product, but they cannot, when they hear some of them, when they see people who need it, they say, hey, there's something they sell somewhere. You know? And you see, you can't blame them. Then there are others. This is interesting. There are others. I know of one medical practitioner who has his own private hospital, and I think, I can't remember whether I gave him a couple of bottles or he bought, and it's like, it works. But you know what? I can't prescribe it here, because if I prescribe it here and they know what to take, so they won't come back to the hospital, you know. So there are many reasons. Those are the reasons why I believe that it's difficult to convince. But I believe also that as herbals are being subjected to research more and more, preclinical trials, clinical trials, I believe that we're going to gradually move away from that, because really, really, I know that a lot of medical colleagues, they're open to taking it. It's just that they need to protect themselves.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Fumi.
Yes.
So, yeah, I saw, and I'm still on this conversation of, does it work? And what are the concerns that people have? So I think, while I'll let MI and Dotun also respond to this. I also saw something flash up about the Flexner report. I think Dotun wanted to mention something about the Flexner report, the fact that there's a conspiracy, there's an actual effort made to silence herbals. I don't know if you want to comment about that.
Okay. Okay. I'll try to be political, but let me also say that. Okay, so there's a place of the big giant multinationals, and they promote certain things. Okay, before I go to that, let me take from where Dr. Fumi stopped. The fact that there are certain protocols that are necessary before the orthodox practitioner actually recommend medications. And here in Africa, we have been a lot hampered by technology and by funds to be able to get through these protocols, to be able to get our product out. Certain things. Let me take the US pharmaceutical market, for example. The US pharmaceutical market is the biggest global market. It is very difficult to press into those things. There are big marketing implications to trying to enter those things. And when you bring up something that will compete with something that a multinational giant is also projecting, then you are in for some kind of very heavy competition. Let me use the right word, opposition, in terms of what you need to be able to prove to the world that this thing is actually working. So that is on one side. On the other side is, which I said earlier, that these things actually, to a large extent, we don't have the technology to get it done. On the third hand is actually the lack of harmony in the Nigerian health and research. In the period I have been into herbal research, I tell you the tons of medical studies that have been done on herbs in Nigeria. But it takes some level of technology transfer and some level of innovation deployment to harmonize and synthesize these things and put some icing on their cakes to be able to project it to the global population. I think, and let me share a story, I won't take so much, let me share a story. One of the things that convinced me about herbal medicine, I'm going to share my experience. When I started this thing, I think before I went to the US, I worked on some particular plants, okay? And as that time, an uncle of mine was sick of being, of diabetes and hypertension. He's been an healthy person all his life. And then suddenly he came back with diabetes and hypertension. And then the doctor, well, I never discussed with the doctor, but the doctor recommended several antidiabetics, a couple of antihypertensives, and also an anticoagulant. So I was looking at maybe fear of things like deep venous thrombosis or some issues with blood coagulation and things like that. And some of these things probably, I mean, of me can tell you, they are very serious, some of those conditions that warrant these medications, very serious implications. I was working on some of these herbs, and they are very safe plants, by the way, not like some very esoteric plants. I just discussed with him. I told him, sir, can you take this plant? And I gave him an advice. I told him, you take it at home. Do a more frequent checkup. Don't tell the doctor that you are taking anything. Continue his medications. But if he gives you a 2-month checkup, appear in the clinic in 2 weeks. Then he started going to the clinic more frequently. The next 2 weeks he went to the clinic, the doctor looked at the medications and cut all of them by half. The next 2 weeks again, he went back to the clinic. The doctor removed 1 out of the medication. Now the doctor himself now gave him a 2-week appointment, not unlike the usual 1-month appointment. After another 2 weeks, he went to the hospital. He didn't know he's taking any herb. The doctor removed the anticoagulant completely, discontinued the antidiabetic completely, and reduced the antihypertensive to half of 1 of the tablets. That's about 2 months consistently take herbs daily. When he told me, I told him, look, the reason why the doctor have kept you on half this antihypertensive is because he's afraid that this thing is going to come back. In reality, he doesn't have any reason to keep you on it again. I advise you continue to take your half of the antihypertensive, do his monthly appointment. In 6 months, the guy will be convinced of getting you completely off the antihypertensive. Yes, it didn't take 6 months, it took maybe about 9 months or thereabout. The guy discontinued the antihypertensive completely and told him to keep coming every month. And after a while, made it every 6 months. He now asked me, he said, why did you tell me not to tell the doctor? I said, because he doesn't understand it. Once you tell him, he's going to get scared, he's going to get afraid, he doesn't know what it interacts with, whether it interacts with what he's giving you, whether it's going to scatter his... And I will always say it, when there is a dark spot, you will be afraid to enter in. And it's normal for any orthodox medical practitioner. For the whole of 6 years of your training, no statement was made a herbal remedy. No review of any herbal medication that worked. Whereas you did all the pharmacology, you did all the physiology, you did all the pathology, you did... So this is a very dark spot for you. So if somebody now tells you, can I use herbal remedy? The next thing you're going to tell him is, please run away from it. I don't know about it.
Okay.
So the way forward, okay, just the last statement. The way forward with us in Africa is really that we need to incorporate it into the existing trainings, and then its acceptability will increase. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dawson. Now, there are a number of questions building up, and I'll ask all of them. But there's something I wanted to, chip in at this point as well. And I think we already made some allusions to some of these things. Now, reality is, one of the reasons as well is because people have had negative experiences before. So I'm happy that you said orthodox medicine has its own challenges, herbal medicine has its own challenges. Some people have experienced some negative things with herbal medicine before, and it's part of the reason why they are feeling, look, this thing is unregulated. And I think one of the key elements that brings this unregulation is the issue of dosage. So some people have taken some things and possibly overdosed on them. Maybe something is powerful at a particular volume, but can have other effects at particular volumes. I'm going to allow MI to just taking the comment from there to say, do they work? I think we all agree that they work. Why are we not convincing other practitioners? I like what you said about inculcating it. One of the things we are doing, for example, from the organization that I am involved with, is we've done a number of preclinical trials. We just inaugurated clinical trials in the course of last week. And we want to do more to test and be sure this is what the report is that allows us to be able to tie into the conversation of medical practitioners. But I'm going to allow MI to take the podium now.
Okay, I would like to start responding to the question by talking about leaves and herbs as they exist.
Dotun is the innovator here. He would agree with me that a regular medicinal herb has a lot of active ingredients. Yeah, there are a number of active ingredients or a lot of phytochemicals, as it were, and there is need to do a separation of some sort, and there's need to have a maximum when it comes to toxicity levels and all of that. That's where safety and all of that comes in. So what we have, or what we have had in time past, is somebody just says this leaves oh that gone is really good, and you grind it, you just put water or you use a gogoro to mix it, and or the sauce on, and yeah, okay, that kind of thing. That's what we have had in time past, and I'd like to link that to one of the reasons why the average professional doesn't want to touch herbs, because of the kind of and caliber of people that have done herbs probably in the decades past or in the years past and all of that. So you don't want to relate with it. Looks crude. It doesn't look refined. It doesn't look like you have done your homework and all of that. But as far as and that's where the place of research is concerned. That's the place of doing trials and tests, toxicity tests and all of that are concerned. And while I would say that herbs are good, but just like you don't want to go to just any nearby buka. I remember I went to one buka some time ago, and I stood my life outside, that kind of thing. So you want to ensure that you go you want to ensure that you're using herbs that are well researched, that are well separated, that have clear active ingredients with clear toxicity tests done and all of that. So you just don't want to embrace herbs and say, oh, they are all good and all of that. That's where the controls come in, and that's why why we went to school. Before I used to wonder that what's wrong with all these book people say. But yeah, we went to school so that we can be able to engage our mental faculties and ask questions. Because our training helps us to ask questions. Why does it work this way? And all of that. So it's good. To ask those questions, and it helps to raise the bar. Yeah, so that people don't practice herbals the way it's always been. So I think it's what do they call it? The challenges that are coming up, the opposition, whatever that are coming up I think it's good for the industry, because it's going to ensure that the bar is, you keep raising the bar to ensure that whatever is happening in the orthodox space is also applicable and happening also in the herbal space. So for example, when I really started going deep into researching herbs, sometimes I'll be on my desk and I'm researching some active ingredients. Honestly, between you and me, sometimes I yell out. I'm like, wow, really? If you see some of these active ingredients, some of these herbs, honestly, you just burst it. Sometimes you just burst and say, God is just awesome. Like, really, and even though people like us who studied pharmacy in school, we did pharmacognosy, they taught us about leaves, botanical names, all of these things that we see in herbs, but somewhere it was just filed away somewhere, and we never really went back to it. So I have pharmacist friends who only sell herbal products because their customers keep coming for them. And when they ask, when they ask them about, oh, what do you think, man? They won't make any commitment. They just say, you want, okay, you can pick it. They're asking for it. It's working for them. It's your business. Don't come and meet me if it doesn't work. But I would like to say something very quickly before I just drop the mic at this point. Now, I stand to be corrected, but sometimes I wonder that people are overtly too afraid when it comes to herbs. I think that more people, please, Dr. Fumi, correct me. I think more people have died in the hospital than would have died taking herbs. I think so. But everybody here has probably lost a dear person, plenty of dear people, a number of people dear to them in the hospital. But we don't say because they died in the hospital, we stop going to the hospital. I also, so sometimes I think we need to be a bit more open to ask questions, do our own research, and ensure that, if we are going to open up and try herbs, we are working with people who know what they're doing, yeah, who have done all the due diligence to ensure that the right tests are done, the trials are done, you don't just say, oh, okay, just take it when it's there, you just take a gulp, the right dosage, everything is done to ensure that you're getting value for what you're using it for. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, MI. There are a few questions on the screen I'd like to ask. So I'll ask like 3 or 4 questions at the same time. And then you can pick the one that you feel is yours so that you can finish this over the next few minutes. In case you're wondering and you're listening to us today, my name is Adeolu Akiyemi. I'm interviewing the medical people. I am not a medical person, but I also have some history with herbs. I think I was born into herbs. My father was a herbalist. I got to hear after I was born. He had died before I was born. So I was called Baba Wali, to recognize the fact that, maybe he's the one that came back. But, my mother was a nurse, but my mom always used herbs. One of my grandfather, was said to have told my mom when I was born that how can she allow me to be born as a breech coming out with my legs? That all she needed to do was take some particular herbs and I would have turned inside her and come out with my head. So those are the kind of conversations I had growing up. So I know about the efficacy of herbs. And I can see a number of questions are being asked. So I like to ask them so that we can also get enlightenment. So somebody's asking, Joke is asking, and I'm sure maybe this question is for MI. It says, good day. Can you confirm that all Reader products are 100% herbal, are natural? Are there chemicals added? So somebody can take on that question. I'm going to ask somebody to answer it. Joke is also asking, which of the herbal products will you recommend for fibroid and which one for weight loss? So which one is for fibroid, which one is for weight loss? Dr. Adams is asking, Mr. Kiyemi, I'm going to ask like 3 or 4 questions, so just hold on for me. Thank you, Mr. Kiyemi. Please, why is it that WHO does not recognize herbal medicine? Why can't the scientists help us to develop our local herbs? I inherited from my grandfather a series of healing herbs, but I never commercialized it because developing it to that level of acceptability is a big challenge for me. I think I can answer that question, but somebody will attend to that as well. And then somebody's asking, how do we go about correcting dosage when using herbal medicine? How can we have the correct dosage? I think more people have asked the dosage question, and I think we've already started attempting something on dosage questions. So I think that's already going well. Somebody asks, I'll stop with this one. We'll answer, and then there's a second batch. So get ready for the second batch. It says Madagascar has claimed to have a cure for COVID-19. We also have the plants here in Nigeria. Is it possible for us to come up with our own remedy for COVID-19? How do we overcome the challenge of dosage for herbal medicine that most people use to counter alternative? That's what most people use to counter alternative medicine. So the floor is open. Who wants to bail the cats? Who wants to start today? Dr. Fumi, let's go ahead with you, and then we'll move to Dr.
Yes. Could you please repeat the one? Okay, somebody asked about fibroids and weight loss.
Yeah.
Please, could you repeat that question?
Which of the herbal products will you recommend for fibroid and which one for weight loss?
Okay, I believe the person is talking about Reader herbal products or
yes,
herbal products.
It's Reader you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, the first thing I'd like to say is that the definitive management of fibroids is actually surgery. However, before a fibroid is operated on, the doctor would have assessed the size, the location, before deciding to have surgery. Reader herbal bitters is antioxidant and it can be used in fibroids, especially, excuse me, it can be used while waiting for surgery, if surgery is going to be needed, and even after surgery, probably to prevent recurrence. Now, in terms of weight loss, Reader herbal bitters has helped many people, many individuals to lose weight. But now we have the Reader fat burner, which is used in conjunction with Reader herbal bitters. And there have been several reports of people who have used both and have lost weight. So I think that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Are there questions you want to answer there, Dr.? And Emma, is there any question you want to answer there?
I want to talk about the COVID-19.
Yes.
I want to appreciate CM particularly also for, pioneering herbal research in Nigeria, because I'm excited to hear that you're already going into clinical trials. I think this is the way to go. If we have more people like CM and MI and the whole team, we would have gone farther than this in herbal medicine in Nigeria. And before going into COVID-19, I'm also going to talk about herbal drugs from trusted sources. I want to say here that as much as we're talking about herb,
we're losing your voice. So we cannot hear you. MI, can you take on the podium while he's trying to get
from CM? I mean, from MI. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, it's good to hear this kind of speech.
I cannot hear you.
That have been researched and are trusted. It's not just about going to the market and picking anything. You know, if you cannot trust the organization, please don't just pick anything. In my studies into herbs, I've seen herbal decoctions that are made of cow wee, that are made of cow poo, that are made of etribon, that are made of all kind of sorry, chicken, rotten chicken, that are made all kind of nonsense, all kind of chunks. And you see, when people talk about okay, herbal remedies are killing people, these are the bad eggs, these are the challenges. These are the points of challenges. And the more people are doing concrete, sensible studies and are getting out trusted products like CM and MI are doing, the better for the herbal industry. Now, let me go over to COVID-19 and Atesia Anum. This is a very interesting. I belong to a couple of research interest groups that are presently working actively on COVID-19. I can tell you authoritatively that yesterday, at least, I have 5 Nigerian plants that are proven to be active against COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-1 strain. Now, I would say that it is not impossible that a couple of these studies are already being researched in certain countries. I'm not going to mention the names, but they might come up very soon from certain developed countries, and we will lose them. So while we are busy running after Madagascar, somebody else is going to harvest our product and take it to the Western country and sell it back to us as a solution to our problems. And this is where we need to think. We have the opportunities here. I tell you the truth. You know, MI said something. When you study some things, it's like, wow. It's the same experience I have. When I check out some impact on certain plants, I get like, oh my God, looking here in medicine. So what we need to do, and I saw a letter today from the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and that's what we need to do, is to invest in validating what we have. And it's amazing. I appreciate MI and CM for investing in the investments on clinical trials is heavy, terrifically heavy, you know. Yeah. And this is where we will request government support to help us more. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, I was going to say that all power belongs to God. You know, sometimes when people have power, you know, it's very easy to silence people that are up and coming. But I think you already said it. I mean, in our different corners, if you are there, adding the value that you need to add, doing the bits that you can, gradually, I mean, begin to gain ground, and it will gain the attention of the people that matter. I think that is the phase where we're at as a country, as a nation, and we just need to keep at it, keep giving the value, ensure that what we have to offer people is quality, is safe, and you know it's efficacious. I mean, we need to focus on all of that and give value. Yeah, somebody asked about the Reader range of products. I make bold to say that they are 100% natural, and you know that's one of the things that I find most exciting about it. And I think Dr. mentioned something earlier, speaking about orthodox medicine and the effect that they have on the human body. You know, if you are okay and you use the average orthodox medicine, it will mess up your system because it's designed to alter how your body is. And that's where the concept of antioxidants, like Dr. Aina spoke about earlier, you know, if as a person, naturally, there's nothing wrong with you, but you use a natural health product that is rich in antioxidants, all it does is that it makes you
healthier. I mean, it takes care of free radicals that have not yet positioned as health challenges and as health conditions in your body. It doesn't alter, it's as home in your body. I think Dr. also mentioned something like that. And that's the value of what herbs actually do. They don't alter your body system. You know, they do a corrective work, you know, cellular damage, organ damage that, you know, over time may be happening. It does work of mopping up all of that and ensuring that the body is in a better, much better form. And that's why nothing really needs to be wrong with you before you take some herbs. You know, nothing needs to be like physically wrong with you. And that's the beauty of herbs. I can take it just for general well-being, to ensure that, you know, the stress that I'm taking in, the water I'm taking, the food I'm taking, all I'm inhaling, mopping it up by taking herbs, herbal supplements from time to time. So, okay, I think the question on fibroids and weight loss already was answered by Dr. Aino. I think I'll just
now, good. So I have like a few other questions. I'm going to pull all of them together, and after we have answered this one, then we're done. So you can pick the ones that you want to respond to. Someone says, I need assurance. Someone says, I need assurance on the efficacy of herbal medicine, especially now that FG is planning to buy Madagascar remedies. Should we be rest assured that there will be herbal solutions for COVID-19? I think, like Dr. mentioned, I think that's very simple. Like Dr. mentioned, there are many people who are proponents of herbal medicine all over the place. You need to be sure of the channels you are going through. You need to be sure that the products that you are going with have those, they are safe, they're good quality, and that the right trials are being done on them as well. So nobody can give you any assurance. Like MI said, all power belongs to God. Someone is asking, with the present pandemic, why can't proponents of herbal medicine drive the opportunity to make a statement in this area? So somebody will answer that question. Somebody is saying, please, I grew up with herbs from my childhood, despite my mom being an academic. But I have issues reconciling my wife's Christian beliefs and my herbal beliefs. This brings loads of friction in our 25 years marriage, considering the fact that we're outside Nigeria. My question is, how do we disabuse people's minds about these herbs in view of the damage caused by Nollywood? So I think, you know, we can respond to that. Someone is also asking, it's obvious, and please, you can take the one you want to answer. It says it's obvious that herbal approach has not been given the attention it deserves. It looks more like an intentional strategy by the West. In such case, would we say it's one of the negative effects of colonization and Africa's dependence on Western world? How do you deal with this? I think this person is already also bringing out the Flexner report, you know, but I think we can put that in a case somewhere and somebody can respond to that. Someone says, how do we begin to team up into breaking into the medical world of prescription without necessarily compromising effectiveness and the lack of side effects like of herbal medicine? Someone is asking, Oladramala is asking that. Nathaniel is asking, who can we call upon to manage the complication? Since doctors and pharmacists do not believe in the herbal medicine. This is because the herbs are also not 100% guaranteed. I think that's a simple one. I think already there's a lot of enlightenment that is bringing a number of people on board. So we have doctors and pharmacists in the house today. We have people who do integrated medicine. We have a lot more, not on this page, who are getting involved and getting aware. So there are people who can begin to relate with some of these challenges as well. Someone is asking, Dotun, the herbal medicine you said is good for baldness. We need some. Somebody is saying they need some. How can they reach you? They don't want the one that will give them high blood pressure and diabetes and other complications, but they want to take care of baldness. And somebody is asking, which of the products can we use for sleeplessness? If people are not sleeping, what can we use? And finally, someone is asking, why are people afraid and how can they be convinced to use it? These are the questions, ladies and gentlemen. We have the next 12 minutes to answer them. We can take the floor in whatever order we want. Just take the two that you like.
Okay, can I just, let me just say this before my ogas, speak. Sometimes when people ask some questions, I kind of cringe because, these are questions that people can't ask their doctors. You won't tell your doctor to give you 100% guarantee that what he's going to place you on is, so I think we should ensure that we are open enough to the concept of herbal medicine to take the first step of trying it. Once we have established that what was said earlier of ensuring that the safety, toxicity is done and all of that is done, the right dosage and all of that is in place. I think it's something that we should give a try.
And just to add something to what Dr. said earlier, when he was talking about his uncle who was placed on some dosage of anticoagulants, diabetic, and all of that, he had to be seeing his doctor every 2 weeks, every 1 month, and he had to be adjusting the dose. This is what happens already in medical practice that is already established and all of that, because the body undergoes some level of change as medication is being used. So I think sometimes the issue of dosage may, after some time, need adjustments, or when the person starts to use it, because of course it's sometimes based on body weight and all that. There's a standard weight, there's a standard dosage based on an average adult dose, but sometimes there may be a need as you use it along the line to make some adjustments. So I just wanted to make a comment on that as far as dosage is concerned. There are standard doses for proper herbal preparations, but there may be a need along the line to make some adjustments based on particular body reactions, based on body weights, based on the health condition and all of that. Okay, so then the question of 100% guarantee and all of that, I don't think it's a question that we should get used to asking, because, yeah. Okay, so then for the couple, I wanted to just say this finally, for the couple who's the 20-year-old couple whose husband,
25 years marriage.
25-year marriage, I wanted to just say this. One of the things that Google is your friend. I mean, if the herbal preparations you're using are tested and all of that, all you just need to do is get your wife to check 1, 2, 3 of the active ingredients in that herb to have an idea of what it's all about. I think that will begin to break the ice gradually. When the person knows that she can go to Google, check up research that has been done and all of that, the person will know that this is not about Nollywood, it's not about jazz. This is research work that has been done, and the conversations can begin to go on further from there.
And if it's the Bible and spirituality that is against it, go and read your Bible. Yeah. The leaves were made, the plants were made for the healing of the nations. Yeah, herbal decoctions are as old as the Bible, as old as the Garden of Eden.
Even the prophets use it to cook.
Doctor, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Really, a lot of questions clumped together there at once. I'm really looking at the ones I would pick.
Yes.
But if I'm going to put a couple of questions together at once,
yes,
I would say that we just need to let down our guards. I know the time is short now. We need to let down our guards and just take a step and try out herbal remedies, particularly if you're afraid. If you're afraid, once you can trust the source, like CM said, you can always check some of these things out, check some of these things up, and when you are convinced of what it is, take a step and check it. The future is not until the Westerners move into herbs that we will now begin to say, yes, we are now accepting herbs. I can tell you that herbs a lot of them operate at a certain level where they give a longer term impact on health than the actual orthodox medicine. And like I said in some of the discussions I've had with CM and MI on this platform, Hippocrates did not use paracetamol. He didn't use Panadol. That's the father of medicine. He cured people with decoctions. So it's an evolution that brought us into the present orthodox medicine that we have now. And don't even think because it is accepted by stricto sensu somehow by the orthodox person, it is accepted and it is taken like that as a plan.
We're losing you from time to time.
Yes, there are apps that are also that are also toxic, and that's why you need to get them from the trusted source. And you can always check up or online about information about these apps. But most importantly, try and let down your guards and try things out in sensible measures. And I think it can work out. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I know.
Yeah. Yes, somebody asked that why are people afraid to use herbal medicine, and how can we convince them? Well, people are afraid because I think we've answered those questions. They're not sure about the dosage. They've heard some negative things. But the issue of convincing, personally, I don't believe in convincing people. I believe in educating them. And so when the more people are educated about the content, about like Dr. just said something about going to, or was it MI? Google is your friend. I know that personally, when it came to this herbal medicine, I did personal searches on each of the ingredients, and that helped me to understand. Nobody had to convince me. And if people are properly educated, and then there's something we're doing. We're collating feedbacks from people, positive feedbacks. When people hear in conjunction with being educated, then they would more likely try. Yep. Like I said, I don't believe it. It's not a matter of convincing, but educating people about it.
Thank you, Ma. So, very good. So if somebody's asking what are other questions, if we have an online community, if you see the question, just answer it. Yeah.
Yeah, someone asked, do we have an online community? Yes, we have online groups that we, WhatsApp groups for different purposes. We have some for frequently asked questions. We actually have a team of medical personnel, medical doctors, pharmacists, and all of that on board. So we are not just doing herbal and people are just taking it and going away. We have a system in place to ensure that questions are taken. And every month we collate those questions together. We answer them, put them on video and put them on YouTube. So we have a system to ensure that people are properly educated. And we also have another group for testimony so that feedback, positive feedback that people have. So we have a system in place to ensure that we are continuously improving and creating a system that ensures that people are educated and they are healthy, and helping their loved ones to also be healthy as well. Yeah.
Okay, so someone says, is there a product that is good for sleeplessness? If I can recommend to you, I recommend Rita Herbal Bitters. Very good for sleeplessness. If you can't sleep, you will sleep. Someone is asking for, can you show data, effective data, like for herbal medicine, that it is effective, like the kind of data that we find for showing that chloroquine cannot be useful for corona? I think there's data. We have preclinical trials, and like I said to you, we just commenced clinical trials last week. It's costing quite a few millions, but we're going all the way. We want to get this done and get this done properly. I heard Emma told me about something that Dr. mentioned about some other clinical trials opportunities that are going on. We want to take some other products into that space as well and ensure that what we have is what we can showcase anywhere in the world and say this is value that can do this and that. As someone's asking, my suggestion for herbal practitioners, especially now, the Ivy Medical guys coming to is that we have a recognized national body in Nigeria first, and then comprised of well-educated, traveled people. Yeah, I think that journey is already beginning to commence. I think there's a body already before. I think there's a lot more grouping that will happen. There's a lot more interest, definitely, because of the challenge that the world is facing now, and the need to export value from here to around the world. I'm very happy that many of the testimonies that Dr. Fumi gave are people that are abroad, so that I can have an idea that it's not just Nigeria here. Everywhere that people are consciously beginning to think, what are the solutions? We have totally foreign, apart from Nigerians in diaspora, we have foreigners who are using these products in Canada, who have reported some very good things that have happened with them as well. They can't explain the size of it, but nobody can argue against, I was blind, now I can see. So very quickly tonight, as we wrap up, I'd like us to give like 1 minute closing remarks. 1 minute on the ball. 1 minute. Somebody's asking.
Okay, so 1 minute.
Yes.
You want to say something?
1 minute, let's go.
Okay, 1 minute. So it's a pleasure being on board this evening. We look forward to another time together. Be open, check for the source of what you have. Be sure it is trusted, and please be open to others. It's the future of healthcare system. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me here. It's been a pleasure. herbals work. Like somebody said, there's a place for herbals. There's a place for orthodox medicine and even orthodox surgery. And it's important that when we're going to take anything, we need to know that we need to be properly assessed and diagnosed, so that we know that what we're taking, what we're taking will work, if it can work. So for instance, if there's a mechanical issue, it needs to be addressed. Then we can take herbals. So it's just about everybody being properly educated to be able to do the right thing and give the right thing at the right time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, very quickly, I would just like to put in a word there about our online community. I think the most important thing that people need is a system that helps them, keeps them educated, keeps them supported, and allays their affairs and is able to answer the questions. So I think maybe after now, if you are interested in, you have questions that we have not addressed, or you have questions about herbal and all of that, I think you can send in a message to CM, and our team will be able to be available to support you. It's all about health. We all know that health is wealth. I mean, at a time like this, we know that health is really, really priority. And anything that we can do now, we can't go to the hospital, or we can stay at home and take care of our, and we need to take care of our health. So we're available to ensure that we give the support that is necessary. Thank you very much for having us tonight. We look forward to another amazing time sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll be drawing the curtain from here, and I'd like to say, somebody's asking out there, is there a way I can participate in this industry? Is there a way I can play a part? Is there a way I can invest? Is there a way I can be involved? There is one road. One road leads to the way is joining the green communities and asking, how can I be more involved? How can I be a player? How can I be a participant? And also that reader indulge. We need to close it. We need to close it this half quarter.
Yeah.
This second quarter, reader indulge needs to come on the table. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So please, everybody, I want to say thank you for coming today. If you want to invest, you want to participate, you want to drive, join the communities. Ask the person that invited you to pull into the communities, and let's see what we can do together. This is an opportunity for Africa to serve the world. The way to the King's Palace is through the servants' quarters. And if we serve by making value available, we will become kings. Thank you very much for listening to us tonight. I'm going to put out some music out there as we bring today's meeting.